There we go.
Yeah,
Hey
we are
everybody,
live.
this is John from AU Pack Meal. Welcome to my channel and thanks very much for being here. Everybody that's live, thanks for showing up and hanging out with us. Everybody that's going to watch it later, thanks for watching the replay. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about Stranger Things Season 2, and today I have a very special guest, Anne from Sweet YFT. Could you say hello, Anne?
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Anne asked me if I was going to talk about Stranger Things for season 2, and I didn't do one for season 1, so that was a great idea. And then I invited her, kind of tricked her into it. But yeah, she's a gracious guest. Welcome. We are going to crown you the Queen of Love and Beauty today. So thank you for being here. And
Thank
tell
you.
me, what was your overall opinion of season 2?
I was very pleasantly surprised about season 2. To be honest, for whatever reason, I had assumed that season 2 was going to be set in the same universe, but not following season 1. I don't know. I mean, like, there was no reason for me to believe that. I have no idea what got it in my head that was going to be this way. But yeah, I expected it to still be like set in the 80s, same sort of fantastical feel, but like a different story through detective style. And so when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Ooh, that's the continuation of season 1." I'm not sure how they're gonna pull that off because, I mean, let's be frank, most TV shows have a strong first season and then have a super hard time pulling off what's to follow. And so I was not going in with really high expectations, but I was very happily surprised. I think, well, some things were a little subpar from season 1, but at the same time, I think they did something really great, and some things really, really great. I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about that.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I really enjoy the 80s feel that we get from the Duffer Brothers. It's been one of those things that I grew up in the 80s. Well, I shouldn't say I grew up. I lived through the 80s, so yeah, it was a lot of the feel, the glasses from the Tom Cruise movie, Risky Business, everything, all the puffy jackets. Just was a lot of fun watching them recreate all of that background. So it was really cool. Really cool. So were
Yeah.
you surprised?
And
So,
I'm sorry, I was just going to answer something in the chat.
yeah.
No, I mean, actually, I've never seen American Horror Story. Like, I know the concept, but I've never seen it, so that's not necessarily what I was thinking about. But yeah, you're right. Like, something same feel, but different every season. Like, I thought it would be, to me, it would thematically suit the tone of that TV show well, but that's not how they went. And I think what they did was very, it's not the best TV show I've ever seen, but I still highly rate that season. Sorry for interrupting.
No, are you talking about this season of Stranger Things?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Bro Black Man was asking me if I thought that it was going to be like the American Horror Story feel. So that's why I was replying to.
Gotcha. No, I think they did a really good job of nailing the setting. This is Georgia, same area where Walking Dead is filmed, but in the wintertime, so you can see the difference in the seasons, what Georgia offers. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, but I really think they just did a great job with the setting. It just had a old feel to it right from the get-go. One of the things that was really cool, they introduced a lot of new characters, especially in the episode 1. The very first thing we find out is that 11 has a basically an adopted sister or stepsister from the Hawkins lab. What do you think of number 8?
Actually, well, I I was quite happy of how they handled that. I know there's well the I wasn't sure with the opening of this season, having that being like the first shot of the season, because to me, yeah, a little bit of a oh my god, yeah, my memory, guys, my memory again. That TV show with guys with heroes.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, feel like the first scene.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, then I was pretty happy of how they decided to expand the universe.
Exactly. Yeah, because there had to be other characters like 11, right? They wouldn't run
Yes.
the whole lab based on that. I mean, I know the CIA funded a lot of LSD experiments, but that would have been too confined to have it in just one character. But I think they did a good job of fishing out and fleshing out the number 8.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk
Anything you
already.
want? Yeah.
Yeah, because I know you want to go episode by episode, and like
Hmm.
talking more about her then brings us to episode 6, 7. Yeah,
Well, that
well,
was actually the opening scene. Was
yeah,
her?
7. Yeah, no, I know the opening scene was her. And
Yeah.
like when I just saw the opening scene, I was a little worried that we just were gonna have that.
Mm.
Now I want to see something about um Mindhunter, but I assume that everyone watching this has not watched Mindhunter, so I don't want to say spoilery things.
No, that's what this is about. Everything is spoiled. So
No, I
if
know,
you
but
don't,
I don't want to spoil Mindhunter because
oh,
that's
gotcha.
spoiler rule for Stranger Things.
Is that
But
is that another is that another show that's on Netflix?
yeah, yeah, you have not watched Mindhunter?
I have not. Yeah.
Maybe I'm mispronouncing it terribly, but it's that TV show about the FBI agents who first start interviewing serial killers to try to
Mm,
figure out how they think.
gotcha.
So
No, I
anyway,
haven't.
can I go for a like parallel that is going to be huge spoiler for Mindhunter?
Sure.
Okay, so people watching,
Everybody.
you have been warned. Mute
Yeah.
me for 1 minute if you don't want to be spoiled about Mindhunter. So in Mindhunter, the opening of pretty much every single episode before the title, we're following that guy. I mean, I dubbed him Mustache Man because he has a mustache. Who is obviously do up in some creepy things, and we assume that he's one of the serial killers. You know that they're. I mean, either he's going to become a serial killer or he's already one. We don't know. And so yeah, we see a little glimpse of him at the opening of almost every single episode, and then we get to the last one, episode 10 or 9, and nothing has happened with his storyline. Is also the closing like shot? You know, and it's just like they're sort of like baiting us with like little tidbits, and they end the season and nothing has happened with that character. It was just freaking clickbait. And so okay, why I'm talking about that is that Stranger Things, what I loved about that season is that they really took the time to set up season 3, 4, 5. Like they made the world bigger and extended the universe
Mhm.
so that the following seasons would follow the story in a natural way, in a natural progression. In Stranger Things, they just teased us with what's to come, never really like implementing it in the season properly. That's everything I hate that a lot of TV shows do. I really don't like season ending with big useless cliffhangers. So I'm not going to watch the next season of Mindhunter just purely for that. It's like, don't
Oh,
clickbait me.
wow.
I'm not, I refuse that. Like, I'll boycott it. But Stranger Things. So when I first saw the opening, because I had just finished watching Mindhunter, I was all worried. It's like, oh, are they going to pull the same kind of shit on me this time? But no, it's like they took the time to wave it into the narrative of this season, make it make sense, and then I assume there's going to be a bigger focus next season. So Stranger Things, really happy. Good way to do things. Mindhunter, bad TV show, not the good way to do things. Now I'm done talking about Mindhunter. You can come back.
No, I just wanted to say hi to everybody that's in the chat again. JW Flux is here. Broke Black Man 94, of course. Ian Trone, always representing Game of Thrones community. So thanks for being here as well. Alicia Kingston is here. Also, we had a special guest earlier, Bridge 4, Kevin, who does a lot of Game of Thrones, Westworld videos, one of my favorite shows. Popped in for a little while. And Angelina High, all the way from London. So thanks for being here for that. And hopefully we'll get a few more. And so we obviously got
Angelina is from London. I don't know. I thought, sorry. For some reason, I assumed she was from the United States. Sorry, Angelina.
No, that's okay. We'll claim her as a U.S. citizen. That's fine. Oh, Jay Cruz is here too. Yeah, thanks for being here. Sorry, I missed you on the shout outs. So we got introduced to Mad Max, the redhead gamer girl, skateboarder. Did you like her at all?
Yeah. No, I liked her very much. I thought it was good that they introduced new characters. I thought it was important because, first season was really about a big part of our cast being kids. And there they get it's about them being teens, pre-teens. And that means starting to get interested into girls. And so having a cool, badass girl their age entering their friends group was like a really good thing to me. No, I mean, I thought her character was interesting, believable, complex. And yeah, no, I was super happy about her. She didn't have, a huge part to play this season. But nobody had as big a part to play as they did last season, again, because that season was about telling a story, but also setting up what's to come. So every storyline was a little bit shortened, but I liked her.
Yeah, okay, I liked her a lot. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just filling in because you were answering comments.
No, that's okay. The other character that I really liked was Bob the Brain, Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings. He just did a great job, and I thought they talked a lot about that in the extended at the end of the series, where they were saying we expanded this quite a bit because Sean just did a fantastic job, and I couldn't agree with him more. I really liked how he interacted with the kids, being a wannabe dad and that sort of thing.
No, it was great. It was great also. I was really happy that he was a nuanced character. I mean, that's what I like most about that TV show. It's like I watched first season with my husband, and he started also and he really wasn't into it, and he started watching season 2 and stopped after 2 episodes because he doesn't care about the monster. Gotcha. So he doesn't get into the TV show. But to be fair, I don't care about the monster. I don't know many people watching that TV show really care about that monster. But to me, it's not about the monster. It's about the characters, how they're written, how they interact, and to me, it's an extremely well written TV show. I mean, like, how many TV shows have really well written, believable, interesting children/young adults written in? They're not just total cliche. Like, that's what makes that show really good. So, although not a kid, like, yeah, when it arrived, it was like, oh yeah, that's Joy's new boyfriend. He's gonna just be a cliche, goofy side piece,
Side piece.
Probably not the right word. Yes. Now that I said it out loud, I realized it does not mean what it means, what I thought it meant. Not side quest. Well, like a distraction, just side character. Mm-hmm. But no, but they still managed to I mean, like really flesh him out. And I was super sad when Bob was killed. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no. I wanted Mustache Man to die. Really, 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 really. Like I was like super excited, but when he was gonna be eaten alive by some demo dogs, but
Mm-hmm.
that didn't happen.
Were you surprised at the new like Brenner character Paul Reiser played? Um,
Yep. Yeah.
that was a shock for me
I mean, what was a shock for you?
that they put him in there because he's a stand-up comedian, you know, from the '80s. So that part of it filled in pretty good. He hasn't really done a lot of television, mostly with Holly Hunter. He did Mad About You, which is a great television show, but it's been 20 years. So
Well, I mean, like you know that I don't necessarily get to see everything. Like I don't know all of these characters. Like we don't get exactly the same TV shows than you guys.
sure,
I don't know what's in your pop culture most of the times.
yeah.
But so I recognize him. I was fucking pleased with what they did with that character. I can tell you, it was I was afraid
This
we were
show
gonna
is no
have.
longer G-rated. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, we're not supposed to swear here.
No.
That would be a first. You don't tell me anything, hey you. How am I supposed to know? Like you've watched my videos, you know I swear a lot.
No, that was actually one of the things that shocked me when you talked about watching this show is that I thought for sure it was just too kiddie for you. That it would be too, you know, too much of a G-rated. But yeah, very, very cool.
But
You can say
actually
whatever
not.
you
Like
like.
they swear a lot. Like
The kids do, yeah, especially
yeah,
Dustin.
yeah, Dustin swears a lot.
Yeah,
Like
Dustin. Speaking of Dustin, he got his teeth this year.
yeah,
That was
his
pretty cool.
teeth, his new teeth, best part of the TV show this season. I can't do that.
That was pretty funny.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
going back to Paul Razor, I'm sorry.
No,
So
that's okay.
I didn't have any cultural expectations seeing him. I was just really happy that it wasn't a Matthew Modine 2.0, which, and how the on purpose, the first episode made us believe that's what he was going to be, but he actually ended up being a good guy. I mean, he's a scientist and he works for the government, so that's his priority number one.
Yeah.
But overall, like another really good thing that this season made is that season one was really pretty good with that, but season two was even better about making every single character more nuanced than season one. Like we didn't have the bad guy versus the good guys. Like we
Right.
had. There's also what the whole story of. Story episode with the gang and eight, showing that the good guys are not always who we think they are, and that the bad guys sometimes are not as bad.
So you didn't. In the first season, we had really basically the Demogorgon was the only real bad guy, right? There wasn't anything other than the gate that we had to worry about,
I mean,
and the Upside Down.
the scientists were more of a threat
Mm.
in the first season, I would say.
Right, because they made up. I forgot it. They made up Will's dead body and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. They were, you know, I've not rewatched season one. I'm sorry, terrible memory, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
from what I remember in season one, the scientists were more worried about like hiding the truth than they were about like actually saving people and selling that gate.
Yeah, they were doing a lot of eavesdropping, you know, with all the people listening to the phone calls and stuff. Yeah, definitely. But you didn't get that as much in season two. Obviously, the main concern was this new Mind Flayer that was attacking Will.
So yeah, I don't know what to think about that monster. Like, what were your thoughts on that new monster?
Well, I think it had to be something that was involved with the Dungeons and Dragons, because that's really the whole connection between the show and the real kids, in real life stuff for the kids. So I think it had to be something connected with it. Although, the Mind Flayer in the game is totally different than, I shouldn't say totally different, but different than in the show.
Mm.
But it was the big bad guy. And they had to up the game with the demodogs too. Instead of it just being, one creature, it was now 10, or 12 or whatever. So I thought that the increase in danger just from living in Hawkins was a pretty cool new aspect that the Duffer Brothers brought.
Yeah, I agree. Although it seems like I could be misremembering it, but there was almost less casualty this season than they were. I mean, it felt like the Demogorgon was after people, like to feed, to eat. They're, I don't know. I mean, it's complicated, but here, like, we don't really know what the Mind Flayer was about. Like, we don't really know. It remains.
It's still in
The
existence, you mean?
Demogorgon was a beast, basically. So, like, we didn't need to have the monster's motivation because he just wants to feed. But there, like, the Mind Flayer, obviously, like, yeah, it's not the D&D Mind Flayer, but I think was that explained in the TV show, or I can't remember, sorry. But
It was
it's
either
a
the
race that want to enslave other races, and how would, that was to me like what was not as great in season 2. Like, if you give me a stronger monster, like, flesh him out. Like, and it was not.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought Dustin and Mr. Clark, the science teacher, talked about it, where he explained the concept of the Mind Flayer and why it was important that um, they understand what the strengths of this animal are, so they can help Will get better. And I think that was the idea.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's why, like, I could see a Demogorgon. Again, it's a beast. It's just gonna hunt where it is, like, go after kids in that small town. Like, if you're a Mind Flayer, are you really gonna attack, like,
You'd go
middle of
after Hopper, right?
yeah, Hopkins? Like, no, you're not. Like, I'm a Mind Flayer. I'm gonna go for Washington D.C. and try to mind control.
Oh, I see.
It's like it's just, so give me some background info, like
Well, so let's talk about, briefly. Let's talk about that, because I think that's important. This is where the gate was opened. So this is where the Mind Flayer had to attack, so that it could be opened up even more. Make sense?
no, I understand that. I
Okay.
understand that.
Okay.
But okay, no, it's. I mean, they drew the map, and that made total sense that there's a center and is expanding from the center, and they're
Sure.
trying to seal the gate so it cannot no longer expand, because, as they said, otherwise it's going to take over the country. But I, what? Okay, you're a Mind Flayer. What? What could you possibly gain from making your presence known? Like, why did he go after Will? Like, why did he attack Will so the rest of his group of friends? Because if he had never attacked Will, remember, like, everyone thought Will was suffering from PTSD
Right.
up to that point.
Exactly.
And if you're, a overworldly being with incredible magical power, with the power to control anyone's mind, and your goal is to enslave other races,
In my
then
opinion,
you know
it's
like you don't stop for a side quest. Like you have your goal. Like, those, again, like, it's not, I know it's not D&D, and also as I've told you guys in other videos, I don't know that much about D&D except what I know from Critical Role. But yeah, his goal is to enslave the human race. It's not, or at least a good portion of the human race, so don't, like, if he had never, like, taken control of Will, then his friends would never have tried to stop him. Does that make sense? Do I make sense? Am I totally wrong?
No, what I was going to add is that because Will had already been in the Upside Down, he's the only one really that he's exposed to that's still alive that survived, other than 11. And I don't think he would have been able to control 11 or attack her the same way he did Will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to talk for longer. I was checking out the comments.
No, I was.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you repeat
Not
the
a worry.
question?
Not a worry. So I think, like I said, Will he's familiar with because he had been in the Upside Down.
Yeah.
He also has a big influence on his friends, much more so than Dustin or Lucas or what have you. So I think he's just more connected with Will, and he already knew that he feared him, so he had that power over him. And once he was attacked, he was able to make that influence known. I could be wrong, but
no, but right. But what would an overworldly creature who wants to enslave the human race gain from just Will? I mean, like, and the influence on Hopkins and on not Hopkins,
Hopper.
the small town.
Yeah, I think what he was going for is that Will could have brought him his friends, and then he could have expanded that, gone to the parents, etc., etc.
Okay.
No?
No, okay. No, I had never considered that. So yeah, it would start to yeah. No, that's I had never thought of it that way. That's an option. Although since they seem like a pretty secluded place, then like at some point I would think that his influence would stop being able to progress from there, and that he, but I would probably make it really terrible Mind Flayer. Like, I would have gone straight for the head of Congress and just, which no one would have noticed if he had went straight for the head of Congress and made him do evil things. So
that's funny. So don't put it in charge
you think,
of
sort of expanding
the United States. Right?
Sorry?
Don't put Anne in charge of the invasion of the United States.
Yeah, no.
She wants to go right for the president.
I mean, the head of Congress, but yeah.
Simple minds. So did you like the trick or treat kind of Halloween feel in the first couple episodes?
Oh yeah, that was cute. I mean, like the first couple of episodes were very nostalgia. Reading? No. Yeah, I mean, like there were a lot of little 80s tidbits. Again, like I grew up in the 80s, but I grew up in France in the 80s, so things are very similar. I mean, they're not very similar in a lot of aspects, but if you travel around the world nowadays, most big cities tend to look the same. In the 80s, things were a lot more different than they are now. So like we didn't have the same fashion, we didn't have the same video games, we didn't have, I mean, like Halloween is very recent in France. It's still not majorly celebrated. It's not a French custom because it's more from English origins.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, definitely no one was celebrating that in the 80s. Like the day we were wearing costumes was Mardi Gras, which is in March, I think. I have no idea.
First day.
Yeah. But it was not about like ghosts or spirits or like being spooky. It was just it was
Party.
and yeah, it was a tradition from the carnival feelings that you find in a lot of cities. That was the idea. It was more of a, I was going to say pagan, but the other one is pagan too. I mean, but it was more of a political party. It's traditionally the day where like anyone from the people can be whoever they want, and strong social hierarchy is broken for that day. So it really has nothing to do with spirits, ghosts, anything scary. Although politics can be scary, but that's a different topic. I feel like I went totally off topic already on that.
No,
You like it? Yeah, people love it. Like, people only invite me because they know I'm gonna go off topic.
that's okay. In this particular case, though, I can see why you did that, because both the Halloween and the Mind Flayer concept, you want to go right for the head of the people that run things rather than the concept of the story. So
Yeah, we want to be at kids. Not kids, kings, kings.
Kings.
Again, I was coughing at the same time, and it sounded really bad. No, I love kids. I don't have kids, but I love kids. I was just saying French people want to behead kings.
It's in their blood.
Mm-hmm.
So in episode 3, Dustin finds the pollywog. Were you surprised at the end of the Halloween that he actually captured it with his proton tank Ghostbuster device?
I mean, I wasn't surprised that he captured him, but yeah, that was so cute. That was very cute. Like I I really like what they did there with the Ghostbusters. Clin d'œil. Yeah, like that was really cute. Like I expected everything that happened in that storyline to happen, which I don't mind. It's okay. It wasn't less good because it wasn't surprising. But I really loved that. Yeah, he carried it, and I mean, the interaction with his mother were just like the best things.
Yeah.
When he tells her, "Oh, I built a little mechanical device to make it
Right.
wiggle."
It looks like a real ghost is in here. That was pretty funny. Were you surprised that he wasn't able to realize this looked a lot like the Demogorg as far as the head is concerned? And
Was I surprised that he's a little stupid? No. Were you surprised?
I was shocked that it turned into a Demodog to begin with, much
Oh,
less I didn't know what that was going to be. So
I mean, just like we so will like spit out a thing that looked, a little similar, and I was actually when I saw Will. I'm sorry, guys, I still have a cold, and when I saw Will doing that, I thought, oh, is that gonna go like in an alien way? But then I was happy the way it went, and like, did you think it could go alien with like full Attack of the Body Demogorgon snatchers?
that would have been interesting. I would have liked that.
So, what was your favorite storyline? Like, which character had your
I
favorite storyline
honestly, I
this
like
season?
the interaction. Nancy's brother, older, or Nancy's boyfriend. Gosh, I'm so sorry. Bear with me just a second here. Not Jonathan.
Mike?
Steve.
Oh,
Steve
sorry.
turned and he kind of like befriended Dustin, and he told him about his Farrah Fawcett hair makeup, hair care secret, and he became not a hero, but he really worked um, into becoming more of a hero in the story. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was really cool. Did you see any of the controversy regarding Nancy's story this season?
Controversy. What's the controversy?
Well, there was an article from, I don't know, like a magazine. I forgot which one. Could be Vanity Fair or like a pop culture heavy magazine. There was an article saying like fuck Nancy, she's the worst, and her storyline is the worst, and how could she leave Steve, who's such a good guy? She's just the
Mm-hmm.
worst. I mean, no, I'm making a parody of the article, but to be honest, it was pretty stupid because you could definitely write an article if you're. I'm very sorry. Just I'm gonna cough a good time. You you go
Yeah,
on
mute.
and
Just mute. Yeah, no problem. So I thought Steve was such a douchey character from the beginning that they had to make him that way so that when he did do the transition, that it was a much better story than if he would have just stayed that way. And then the introduction with Billy to give him a something to play off of, I thought was good too.
yeah, no, I agree. But
How
yeah,
you
so
feeling?
basically there was an I'm sorry, I don't think it's still my throat is quite good yet, but you're gonna have to bear with that.
Sure, sure.
So I
Yeah,
mean
if you need to
I know
stop,
you
let me
will.
know.
You were
We could
talking
stop
about the
early.
people watching. But no, because basically this article was explaining what they did not like about Nancy this season, which is totally legitimate, except that the only argument they had was like a disgruntled fangirl saying, oh, she should have stayed with Steve, because their relationship was so good and she's just not a good girl for breaking his heart. What did so that was a controversy and a lot of people were saying there was a lot of bullshit, and I agree with that. That was that the definitely, I mean, Nancy's arc was not as strong this season as it was last season, but it was still it was still pretty strong, and I still really enjoyed it. And
I
to
think she
me,
didn't have to be as strong as she was last year, because she had Bob and Hopper stepped up with 11. Um, they had the connection between 11 and 8. So there was more of a distraction between just Nancy being crazy. And I mean crazy in a good way, not crazy bad,
mm-mm.
right?
But what did you think about the where character went?
Where Nancy's character went.
Yeah.
Well, the part I think that we miss is the effect that Barbara's death had on her. We it's easy to say, okay, that character's dead. We didn't really know her, blah, blah, blah. But this was Nancy's best friend, her confidant, her consultant, and all of the things that she does. She was her smart person, side. So when that's gone, she just tipped the other way. And I think that's one of the things that really affected her that we didn't see as much. Um, and I think that's one of the reasons why she was so adamant about getting um, getting this demodog killed and making sure that things were safe back in Hawkins.
I agree. So I like, I forgot the name of the actor playing the like private eye, but he was amazing. I love that actor.
The
And
investigative reporter,
yeah,
that was Murray, and he's played by Brett Gelman.
yeah. Well, it was amazing. So um like her arc did not really get any payoff this season, but I think like it was a really good setup. Like it made sense what she did, why she did it. It didn't get any payoff this season, but it's a really great setup for next season. Like again, this season was all about expanding. They were, And it was also cohesive. The story was growing, the characters were growing. So yeah, did it feel a little frustrating and like unfinished? Yes, but it's not the worst. And because of the way a lot of things were this season, I like they explain why she did what she did, and it made total sense. Like she just felt very, very angry about not just that her friend died, but the cover-ups that like we were discussing about, like the scientists for a season, they were all about the cover-up.
Makes sense.
And yeah, and she wanted justice for a friend. Like she didn't want revenge, or like the first season was more about revenge. There, she was more about justice. She wanted justice for a friend. But yeah, so we're waiting to see what will come of that story. But I think it was good.
Do you think the new doctor that was in charge of the Hawkins lab, um, do you think he'll uncover what's going on there and basically shut down the lab?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's because we don't really know what it was in charge of. Like, there was a little bit of a plot hole this season because last season, I mean, I could be wrong. Like, correct me if I forgot anything. Like last season, Matthew Modini was in charge of all of the experiments with 11 and potentially other kids. Like, we assume that that is no longer happening.
Correct.
And here this season, it seems like that whole setup was just there to monitor on on Will's progress. Well, right. No, not Will. Oh my god. I'm forgetting the characters' names.
Will was the kid that was
Yeah,
taken
Will.
over by the Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
On Will's progress. Like what else were they doing except having
Oh,
him for interviews? Like that was not really explained. I
actually,
mean, and
I thought
they were not just doing that. They were also trying to like sort of monitor the breach between the world, like doing some damage control. I know
right.
but
Yeah, monitoring the gate I thought was their main focus and trying to figure out, can they close this, or is it good to close, or is it better that they leave it open and experiment what they can bring in and out of there, right? Well, it looks like we lost Anne. So while Anne's gone, let me ask you guys in the chat, what was your favorite character? Loudon Papa. Is Loudon Papa? Why do you think Loudon would be Papa? Hmm. Hmm. You okay?
yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. No, you do not read the group chat.
Is that what happened
That
to you?
happened.
You got sucked into the upside down?
That exactly. I was taken to the upside down. This guy never reads the group chat.
Oh, is that what happened to you? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, I
Yes,
know.
yes.
Oh,
You know
that
what
was
happened?
horrible. I had to fight. It's a good thing I have my baseball bat because I had to fight horrible monsters.
Yeah, you'd be stuck with me. I actually had it covered up with an announcement that just came up. So I totally apologize. That's my fault. Yeah.
Oh, what was the announcement?
It was about an upcoming video that's on YouTube. So yeah, I get my I shouldn't say announcement. It's just a notice. So
Okay.
So I asked everybody in the chat who was their favorite character, and Candy's here. Candy Mori from all the way from England as well. She said Team Joyce. So
Okay, yeah, Joyce. We have not talked about Joyce yet. So
mhm.
why, Candy? Why is she your favorite character?
She's going to be quiet. I can
Oh,
tell.
sorry, and I'm super late on that. Like, AU asked me too many questions. I can't catch up with the live chat. I'm very much behind, very much behind.
Um,
But yeah, no, interesting. I don't know what to think of Joyce this season. Like that was, I wouldn't say the weakest. I mean, yeah, I might have said the weakest arc this season, but I mean, I'm still conflicted. I'm a little conflicted because every character sort of became less one-dimensional this season, and so did she. But it felt a little confusing at
sorry.
times, and so I'd like to know what you all think. Because season one, she was a helpless, scared mother wanting to protect her kid. That was pretty much her
Hmm.
tone throughout the
Sure.
entire, season. So yeah, of course, like she was smart about it and she uncovered some mysteries and got the truth out. But that was still what she was. And there, this season, um, there was really that turning point when she's like, no, like we got to kick that monster out, and like she was, like she gambled on Will, like in a good way, like she was in a no-win situation. I'm not saying she's a bad mother by any stretch of the imagination, but it's like for a season she would never have said, okay, let's do an exorcism on my kid and kick that demon out. She would have been too scared to do that, and she did it this season, and it was really like interesting, and it showed that like there was some more depth to her character, except that and maybe it's because I missed something, but like I to me it didn't come super naturally, like how she got all of a sudden to be less scared and try to take that risk. What do you guys think? And like AU, what do you think?
Yeah. When you say risk, tell me what was the risk?
Well, that the exorcism, for lack of a better
The
word,
will. Yeah.
Will would have killed him.
Well, here's the way I look at that part of it. As far as it being warm, yes, they were sweating, but it's no different than if you were in a sauna. Um, and I don't think that the virus that they were talking about was um, the cells were interconnected. So, in other words, you couldn't have one without the other. I think once you got rid of the Mind Flayer smoke, if you will, and I hate to use the Lost Smoke reference, but that's what I thought of it. Um, it just seemed like the smartest thing to do. The only thing they messed up on was the noises around the house when they first started, and they used the yard shed instead of going to another location. But other than that, I thought it was a smart thing to do, especially when he kept saying, "I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold," and it was just normal temperature, you know.
Yeah, but um I don't know. I'm not really a specialist or believe by any stretch of the imagination in exorcism, but yeah, they used, I guess they used the virus analogy to be politically correct because it was a lot more like an
Yeah, they didn't want
exorcism that it was the like like, but they didn't want to get like any, I
religious.
assume, religious group on their back to but yeah, the risk is that would like that the poor kid dies of a heart attack. Like that's the idea, is that the hold of the demon is so strong they will kill the host rather than setting it free. So it was not they would die from heat exposure, but that he would die because the fight with the inner demon would be so strong that his body would not be strong enough to handle it. So I think like we're supposed. I could be wrong. Let us know in the chat if I managed to catch up. But I think like the idea was that it could kill him, like that expulsing the demon could kill him, and that's why I was like, okay, well, yeah, she was in again, like it was a catch 22, right? That's the term for a bad situation with no good outcome.
Right.
So she had to, like Will could have been killed by the demon staying or by trying to chase the demon out. So she had to choose one, but she chose the riskier path of the two because one was doing nothing, and that is usually it's not safer, but it's it's the one that people don't want to take risk usually choose. And I'm not sure that it was like really well shown what was the trigger to make her switch from her like sort of passive role. I'm sorry, like I can't find the perfect word, but
Sure.
I mean, like if you don't know what I mean, I'll try to explain better. Her passive role in first season. So in first season, she would have been like, "Oh, do nothing, do not take the risk." Although we know that it could also have killed him. And here she's like, "Yeah, we will take the risk." And
You talking about Joyce?
Yeah, Joyce. Yeah, that whole conversation is about Joyce, like her arc this season.
Right.
So, like, was it Bob's death that, like, triggered that changes Joyce? That wasn't. If that was the case, that's the big thing that happened to her mid-season. But if that was the case, like that wasn't really shown that much. I don't really know. Like again, I'm happy that she had a like character change, character growth, like everyone else this season. But I'm not sure. Like at least to me, it did not exactly make sense how she got there. That's why I want to know what your perspective on it was.
Well, definitely losing Bob was a big factor. I'm not sure that that was really the only factor, but the whole time you got to remember from season one, this lady took Christmas lights and put them on the wall and then painted ABC all the way through her house. So, I mean, she has no problem at all taking risk. So for me, that wasn't out of character at all for Joyce.
What was the risk in that? Because to me, that's more analog than what she did with drawing the map from Will's drawing on the wall. Like, where was the risk in using the lights?
Well, she had to go into debt for one thing, and get the money from an advance on her paycheck, and then she ruined. I shouldn't say ruin her house, but she certainly didn't help things out. Lauren's here from Lauren's Corner. Everybody, I don't know if you've seen my previous video, but the poet is in the house. So
Hey,
thanks for being
Lauren.
here. And Mrs. Cronall, awesome. Catherine Cronall here is here. And if you guys haven't ever seen her videos, she does a lot of Game of Thrones and nails. One of her episodes is called Liquored and Lacquered. So if you like to get liquored up, that's a good place to go.
I'm going to try to catch up with the chat because there are some good things being said, and I'm totally behind. So you need.
Yeah. So we were talking about Joyce and her arc this year. I think she really carried forward. I don't want to say the risk taking, but the aggressiveness. I mean, even finding the Mind Flayer picture that Will had drawn. I don't know about you, but if I was that age and I drew something and I had a bunch of pictures, my mom wouldn't have even thought of looking at it. So she probably tried to stay away from anything that I was doing as a kid that age. Elementary school, roughly. Yeah, she would have definitely not paid attention to it. And going through a bunch of different things like that. So yeah, thanks for doing that, Ian. I am put a link in Mrs. Cronall's YouTube channel. And if you can hear me, Mr. Cronall, the hand, hello. That's awesome. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, like, yeah.
Winona
Sorry.
Ryder, I thought she did such a great job in playing Joyce's character. I've not been a big fan of hers in other projects, but this one, I think she nailed it. Just totally
Oh,
nailed it.
I mean, I'm a Winona Ryder like fangirl all the way. Like,
Are you? Nice.
what did you not like her? And like, she was my idol growing up. Like, she's so beautiful, and yeah, I loved like even some arguably bad movies that she was
Mhm.
in.
What was your favorite? Because I don't really even remember anything that she was in that I would have remembered her in.
Okay, well, it sucks because
Oh,
I
Beetlejuice. Yeah, that was probably the biggest one.
oh yeah, I
I
mean
just
she was
clicked on
in she
her.
was also
Yeah,
in Edward Scissorhands.
right, right. Okay.
Uh, yeah, I mean some of my favorites might be not as like I really when I was a kid. We're talking early 90s.
That's
I was
true.
young, I'm old now, but I was young back then. Like I really like Reality Bites, which I know sucks, but I really like that. I watched that a lot more than I watched Beetlejuice.
Yes, that's definitely worth watching. All right, so like I said, her going through that situation with Will in the cabin, I thought they were pretty smart with all the cardboard. They were really doing a great job of trying to
Mhm.
covering it up, and then the phone rings, so that kind of messed them up. But as far
There's a
as
lot of things about phone ringing for no good reason. Like, does anyone ever pick up the phone in that season? I feel like the every time it's either the phone ringing annoying people or like people calling and other people not picking up. Like, is there even one phone conversation that whole season for all the phone action?
Well, yeah, speaking of Joyce, she called the sheriff's office a million times. She called the lab a million times and left messages. And poor Flo, she's tired of talking to Joyce. So um, the phone was definitely different in the 80s. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Uh, We
us
we
using the
we
phone.
we used to talk on the phone. Like I don't talk on the phone at all ever again. Like I hate when my phone rings. It's always on like night mode, which is an I don't know if it's the iPhone name, but it means that if you call me, you will get straight to my voicemail, so the phone won't ring. So like if you don't want to reach me, it will be a lot quicker to send me a text.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to talk a lot on the phone, like a lot.
I think it was in season one where Dustin tried to interrupt her talking to Steve, and he was trying to say, "There's a piece of pizza here for you." Yeah, I think that. I'm sorry, that was in season one. So, but yeah, there was a lot of fun phone scenes where they're using the old rotary phone on the wall in the hall. That's pretty cool because that's really how it worked. I mean, there wasn't any phones in the room or portable phones or anything like that. With a name like Broke Black Man 94 and you're telling me you're not born in the 80s, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm still not caught up. I'm still like 10 minutes behind.
Oh, that's
Candy wants us to talk about episode 7, which we're going to.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I would love next season to not be like I would want someone else to have problem other than Will, because that was also one thing I mean, it made sense. It made sense, but to me, that was a little easy that Will was the one being haunted, being possessed by the monster. It was logical,
Yeah, I
but
think
I
so.
would have liked, to have Will have something else to do than just be the victim.
So who do you think would be the next big victim?
I would, it's not that I think, but like Dustin, it would be really interested to see how he would react to that.
Wow.
Like, I think would be the one with whom it would be the most interesting because he appears so cocky all the time. Like, we know he's not deep down, but it's like he always plays like, hey, like, I'm super smart and super cool and I've got shit under control. So, I mean, to me, it would be, of the kids, the most interesting to see, like, if he was in real danger, how would he react? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Hopper would be a better character to have that happen, because I want it to be less about the kids being kids, or I should say more about kids being kids, and let the adults take the heavy stuff. Because I think, the traumatic experiences that um, Hopper went through in the Vietnam War were are still affecting him. Especially with the loss of his daughter, and so um, I think I think that would be better. But Dustin definitely has the brains of the group, um, so he would make a better candidate as far as the kids go. But I don't think he was affected by any of the upside down. Where he, other than his, enjoyment of D'Artagnan.
Has he learned that lesson? Because I don't
Not
feel
to
like
mess
he
with
has.
polywogs.
Uh, you know, yeah, no, that one I think he has learned. But like, don't lie to your friends,
Yeah, I
and don't
definitely
think
think
you
so.
can, like, don't think you can get out of everything. Don't think there's always a get out of jail free card waiting for you. Do you think he has learned that lesson?
For sure. Yeah, I don't think Dustin had a problem with that this year, um, because he was the one that was trying to keep Lucas and Mike from battling over Max. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I thought, I mean, I was waiting for you to elaborate more.
To Well, definitely the big problem this year was Lucas was more infatuated with Max, and almost like Will. I mean, no, not Will, but Mike was connected with 11 last year. So that connection was just super strong for both of them. And I think both of them wanted it to go even further, truth be told.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's kids, so it makes sense. But it's like, I like the way they played Mike rejecting Max so much, when just a year prior he was the one defending a girl getting into the group.
Yep.
It's like, but she's special. No, she's special. No, she's special. When they're still at that age, when
Yeah. Yeah.
they don't really take time to go that in depth into how, each person is special, and you're just like, oh, but she's special to me.
No, that's exactly the way, sixth graders are going to act. So
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that at all. Especially when you take attention away from the friendship that they had between Lucas and Mike.
But I mean, like, yeah. To be fair, Lucas chose the, I forget the name of the tiny monster, the Demogorgon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, he didn't get the girl because he wasn't even making any effort to get her. Like, he couldn't really expect her to just fall on her lap and wait for him to, when he was busy with something else. Like, why am I forgetting character's name again? That's bad. I'm bad. Bad Anne.
so so which character are we talking about? Girl
Lucas.
or boy?
Lucas. No, Lucas.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
He's the one that wears the bandana, the camouflage bandana,
yeah.
and he has the army surplus stuff.
Um, but yeah, it's and that season was, I mean, like like I said at the beginning, one thing I really like about a TV show is, you know, how they just really realistically write characters, and that is so freaking rare on television. You've noticed that now I try to say freaking, so your channel can see PG. It's so rare on television. It's, you know, here it was like, again, we see the I and we see the story expanding, we see the world expanding, we see the monster expanding, and it all echoes into one of the questions for this season and the kids. It's like, we're growing up, do we let our group, like our core group, expand? Like, I think someone, I don't really know what age they are, but I think
Mhm.
someone in the chat said that next season they should be going to high school. Is that right? Because I don't know how American grades work.
Yeah, we call it junior high in the United States, between elementary school and high school.
Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah, they're changing school next year, right?
yeah.
So
But
yeah, it's
I think they were talking more like, because we're Game of Thrones people, that it's more compared to Bran growing up, or Rickon growing up, something like that.
yeah, it's just I used to like Game of Thrones a lot, but Game of Thrones, especially the TV show, was by no stretch of the imagination realistic kids behavior. You know, in even in the book, it just Game of Thrones is a fantastical setting with rules totally different from our own world. There is just normal kids with where, you know, something extraordinary happened in their life. It's a
Yeah,
totally different, I feel. I don't know that there's a term for that kind of horror that I don't know in English. I'm not going to go into the French word, but you know, it's different if you have horrible
what's the
things
French word?
happening.
Share with us the
Uh,
French word.
L'inquiétante étrangeté. When
Perfect.
something real, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
That comes from the German, actually. I think it's is that something from Freud? Anyway, it's just the French term. I can, you know what? I'm gonna wiki that. I'm gonna wiki that and let you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, it's when in your regular setting something just slightly out of the ordinary happens,
Yep.
and it's totally different than étrangeté. And
So
it's
while you're looking that up,
totally, yeah,
I was going
yeah.
to say JW Flux talked about just Dustin being bummed when Mr. Mew got eaten by D'Artagnan. Um, but I don't think he cared about anything other than his friends, his school, his class stuff. I don't think he cared about the cat at all. But other than covering it up so he didn't get caught, that was the only thing he cared about.
Yeah, he cares about being cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin cares a little too much about being cool, which, okay, is going to be, again, interesting how it plays next year when they get to the big school. So, yeah, actually, and I knew the word in English. I did not know that that was a translation for that. It's the uncanny.
Uncanny.
Yeah,
Okay.
uncanny. So you can't compare, you know, it's like, yeah, that with Game of Thrones, which is a fantastical story.
Bonus French lesson for all of you guys out there who are watching this. The
Well, yeah,
uncanny. Very true.
it's
Very
not,
true.
yeah, it's not really helping with your French, because the French is just a translation from the English,
German.
the German concept,
Mhm.
yeah. But but yeah, what I was saying was that next year they're going to change school, they're going to be a new setting, there's like everything this season was sort of this season was very much a setup season. Everything next season is going to be about expanding. But so already this season we had like, do we or do we not expand our friends group, that being a set up mirror of how are they gonna react next season? Are they all gonna go to the same junior high? Not necessarily, right? They could.
Yeah, Lucas and Will, or excuse me, Mike live next to each other,
Mm.
so chances are they would definitely. And Dustin and I think Will's the only one that lives farther away because he lives on an unpaved road, so um, he might, but you can get exceptions for that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised again if they try to make next season as thematic as the past two have been. I would not be surprised if one of the kids would be sent to a different middle school, and that part of the like drama would be like, how does their group survive that geographical split? So what was the joke? I missed the joke because I'm still, yeah, and surprising. Now I'm 14 minutes behind on the chat. So
So JW Flux added that Elijah Wood should take Bob's character.
very
more
funny.
more Hobbit, yeah. You know, Elijah plays all kinds of funny things, so that wouldn't surprise me one bit if they were able to finagle that out of him. But
Oh yeah.
so when you say expand, do you think all of the kids will have girlfriends next year then?
Well, I mean, not
We'll have
necessarily.
11?
Like, again, I think it's super realistic, and not all kids in middle school have girlfriends.
True.
But no. When I mean expand, it's like again the feel, the tone of that season. Like set up for expansion next season.
Maybe we could get Mrs. Wheeler and Billy together.
Who's Mrs. Wheeler again? Oh
Mike
yeah,
Wheeler.
Mrs. Wheeler. That's Mike and Nancy's mom. No, please. Oh, I mean, although like that could be a thematic strong point. I just want that kid to die so much, so much.
Did you have a kid like that in high school? Did you know?
No, I mean, our high schools are very, very different from your high schools. Like,
You weren't allowed to smoke.
actually, I went to private school, so no, we're not allowed to smoke. I mean, because in the 80s, I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in the 80s. Like I was a teen in the 90s. We were not. I mean, like a lot of my friends smoke just outside of school. And although I'm a nasty smoker now, I did not smoke in high school. I'm getting dumber as the years go by. So I started smoking fairly late in my years.
Right.
But in public schools, yeah, you could smoke in high school. I mean, again, that's our system is not set up the same way. Like I was in the same school for junior high and high school, and our high school is only 3 years.
Yeah.
I think our primary school is 1 year longer. Then our middle school is also 4 years, but our high school is just 1 year. Like I think we have a very different system. Our high schools are totally different from your high schools. So no, we did not have particularly what's the word I'm looking for? Baroque people in my high school.
Barack.
Baroque. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that, but
That's okay.
yeah. No, I mean, again, it was a private school, so we did not have to wear a uniform, but it's like, there was a dress code.
Right. Sure.
Like I couldn't wear a miniskirt, or like you couldn't really have, like you could dye your hair a bit, like you could go blonde or go like redhead or go dark, but like you couldn't have purple hair or green hair, like that wouldn't fly. And so yeah, no, nothing crazy. But like in France, we don't have as many like social activities within the school. Like, like we have gym at the school, but then we don't have like sports team. If you want to have more sports than you do in your gym class, then you go to a club outside. Like same thing with music. Like all the activities that kids do, they're not built in school. They're outside private classes. We don't spend as much time in school.
No, that makes total sense. But you learned a lot more, so that's important.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, in regards to the Netflix format, where you get to see all of the episodes at once, are you a fan of that, or do you like having a week between shows, and then if you want to binge watch them later on, you can?
I am a fan of that.
You are? Okay.
I get bored very easily, and if I have to wait a week in between shows, it's more than likely that I will give up before the end of the season. Like, it would be exceptional that,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Also, I don't have a TV, so it's like there's like my only consumption of shows is through my computer on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think I could wait a week anymore to know what happens.
So it would have to be like one episode a day, or you just don't like it unless it's all at once?
Oh God. Okay. Well, I think it would be cool with one episode a day. Like, I haven't really thought about it, but I'm. Oh my God, that's gonna make me sound so bad. Like, I'm not really passionate enough about anything to like sustain attention for a really long period of time.
Gotcha.
Like, I know I used to do that because I used to watch TV, and that we also had, TV shows that were
Mm-hmm.
just there. Like, that's how I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one episode a week. Or I think we had like, maybe we had 2 episodes a week because we had 2 in a row. But
Yeah, most of them are once a week. I'm just thinking of the way you film something. You always want a cliffhanger to bring people back. And this season, the cliffhangers were like, man, I got to see what happens right after the end of this, so that you do binge watch it. And I thought they did a really good job of transitioning between episode and episode.
I mean, there were some cliffhangers, but again, I think they were fairly subtle and not like I didn't feel. I hate cliffhangers that are pushed. Like, I one TV show that is really known for that is 24, and I could
Yes.
like I watched half of a season of 24 because that's something I don't like. But here, like, it was subtle. Like, I binge watched because I knew we were gonna do that video, and I didn't know when I would have time to really watch it before our live video. But it was more because I would have like paced it better had we not had a video planned.
Gotcha.
Like, it wasn't.
Was there any plots in this season that threw you off? Like last season, we had Barb. We found out Barb died, and she was brought into the underneath, or the upside down. I keep saying underneath. Sorry. She was brought into the upside down later in the season than Will was, and yet Will lived and Barbara didn't. I was wondering if you thought there was any kind of funny parts to the show that you thought were weird.
I mean, weird or surprising?
Both.
Okay, well, you go ahead first. Like, I need to think about that one.
Yeah, this year, like I said, the only real surprise to me was Steve Harrington. I mean, obviously, it took getting beat to death before he actually made that transition, but him working for the good guys, if you will, was the only surprise for me. And Billy being better at everything than Steve was pretty pretty cool too. I thought him having a rival made him better.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. That makes sense. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's not really. I don't know. I was not. I was happy about that. I thought it was well written. I don't know if I was like super surprised about it. I was. I mean, I was surprised about 8 and her plot. Um, I mean, I'm still cautious about how that's gonna go next season. But what else? What else? I was surprised that Bob died. Honestly, I was expecting him to make it.
Yeah, but that would bring too much normalness to the show, right? If Joyce got married and they moved to Maine, and
Um, actually, I I like what's normal about the show. Like I said, I think that show is very much about the uncanny. I mean, it's not a classic built on that, like we
right.
agree, but I like that there's a lot of normal in that show and that the normal is still super realistic. Yet we have all of those fantastical elements. That's why I like that show. So because okay, I could be totally off track. I'm known to make the worst predictions ever, but what I predict for next season is that we're gonna see more people like 8. We
Mm,
have a world expansion and have the plot really seriously take us a lot outside of Hopkins.
yeah.
God, I can't pronounce that city. Um, so, and like I said, well, I think next season would make sense if one of the kids went to a different elementary school. So it could have been Will I mean, Maine, I guess, is a little far away, but
Mhm.
it's how everything starts interconnecting, even though it's more spread apart. Because I mean, seriously, if we don't get any follow up next season on not necessarily 8, but other kids that went through the same thing than 11 did, then there was a fucking waste of my time. Oh, sorry, I swore again. There was a freaking waste of my time. Like it's like I'm giving it a chance because I think that was not the worst way to introduce next season. If that has no payoff next season, then I'll totally go back on that and say that was bullshit.
Mhm.
And actually, like people wanted us to talk about episode 7 specifically earlier. So, like, what
Yeah.
are your thoughts on that episode?
Well, like I said, I thought they did a great job. I thought Joyce's transition um, into making or taking that risk, like you said, about Will dying, was in her
Oh,
character, um, and also the fact that Will didn't die, I thought was perfect. Um, where the smoke goes, I don't know. I think it went back to the other side of the gate. I don't think there was any. There might have been a timing issue, but relatively speaking, I don't think there's anything from the other side of the gate that survived, um, like the demodogs dying, falling off the wall, kind of stuff. But as far as the season 7 goes, I thought the transition was perfect. Will had to get better, otherwise, it's too much of a carryover for next season.
I'm sorry. I
And he
was talking
wouldn't.
about episode 7, which is like the Lost Sisters, the episode that is mostly centered about 11 going to Chicago. Chicago, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Chicago. Yeah, yeah. No, that was because that was the very controversial episode because some people called it a filler episode, and
Well, it took the setting away from Hawkins, so I thought that was, norm. That's okay. I don't mind that, especially because 11 is more empowered, and she's taking her ability to find people and using that for a good thing because she wanted to find her sister, or quote unquote sister.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not a big fan of Eight's abilities, as far as making other people see things. But other than that, I thought everything was good about it. I really like the different ethnicity that they brought in with Eight's character, um, not being the same, you know, mayonnaise white people. I don't like. I like a lot of cultured changes in the shows, whether it be Latin American or African American. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't even have to be American American. uh,
Yeah, I mean, I thought for some reason when I saw the first little clip, like I thought she was British, but the early little clip, I thought, because I thought she like her name is Callie, right?
I think I'm
Eight.
not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure Eight's name, to be honest with you.
Like I thought they called her Callie, and I thought about like the Indian goddess of death.
Yeah, Kali. That's the way I say it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's how it's written down, Callie. Yeah, so I think it's in reference to that.
Perfect.
I mean, I assume, but yeah, no, okay. Yeah, no, so yeah, broke. Some people call that episode a filler. Like there was a lot of hate about that episode on Twitter. Twitter is dark and full of hate. Like we know that. Uh, but no, I thought that episode was really interesting. Personally, I would have rather. I mean, I liked that plot. I would rather they would have sort of I think like we did not see 11 almost at all in episode 6. Like I would rather at they um like split it between episode 6, 7, and 8 and sort of mix things around rather than have one entire episode dedicated to it. I would have preferred that pacing, but it's about a detail about editing, not really. It doesn't really say anything about the story on its own. I really like the world expansion. I like the fact that they had more powers. I still thought it had a little bit too much of a heroes vibe. That I wasn't crazy about. I also wasn't crazy about Callie's friends, who were like the only characters that were really like to me one dimensional. With like they did not have we were not really sure why they followed Callie. It was like, oh, that's my little team of rogues. So like again, it's a delicate balance. They couldn't really spend too much time on that storyline again because that was the main focus this season. But then I was like, I wanted more. Like I want them to flesh out a little bit more some of Callie's friends. If they don't have time, have less friends so we can have a little more time on each friend. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I mean, I like that. It stayed me. I mean, it was like her goal was clearly expressed, but yet stayed a little mysterious. And yeah, so again, in parentheses, I really liked it, given that's a setup for next season. Otherwise, if it was just to give a push in 11's arc, then like
You
that
didn't
was.
like it.
I mean, she was she needed something. Like she needed something because, to be honest, like she went from being secluded by the crazy lab people to being secluded by the cop. Um, what's the cop's name?
Hopper?
Hopper. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Hopper did that for good. Like Hopper is not a bad guy, but she was still
No.
secluded. So she needed something, like she needed to gain agency, because we have the girl with freaking superpowers and zero agency. It's worse than Sansa's story. So yeah, something needed to happen. But if it's not a setup for next season, then it was, I think, too big of a detour.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessary. Although I really like her new look. I love it. I try to do a little bit of her like 80s vibe makeup the same way. Like I can't do black eyeshadow, but I try to do something like that. Actually, like, okay, the biggest plot hole this season is that they make it seem so simple to put on black eyeshadow when it's not, people. It's a freaking nightmare to blend. Like you can't, I've tried a ton of black eyeshadow. It does not blend. You can't just like pat it with your fingers and have it look good. That doesn't work that way. Like, yeah, biggest fight this season. But I love her new look. Like, that was really cool. That was really cool because she was also like, we had time to see how all the other kids were becoming teens. But for her, it was like a, like makeover. Like it was like 16 candles, like, oh, that's the new teen 11. I really liked it. But yeah, I want to see more special kids next season. I want to see that written in a smart, thoughtful way. So here, like, it was good. But like I said, setup season for a lot of things. Like, it was either a little too much or a little not enough. And so, yeah, I want more meat next season on that.
That's one thing we really didn't talk about a lot is the isolation of 11. She was really, for all intents and purposes, put into something that adults can't handle. That type of isolation. So I thought that was diminished quite a bit as far as the impact on her personality.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I like Hopper, but it was a bit of an ass there. It's like, did he not take more into consideration that she had been locked in a lab her whole life? Like he's obviously not good at parenting.
But he was trying to protect her, right? So
yeah, no, I know, but
with limited resources.
I know, but that's the thing. Is like, I know he's trying to protect her. Again, I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but like, I don't know, give her more time. Like organize, like, I don't know, little like going out party, if that makes sense. I don't know, like be with her to, like, maybe at night go out a bit to explore things. Like try to, try to halfway happy her. He doesn't do that. He's expecting a 12-year-old to compromise, but he's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Brooke. Like that he should have at least told Mike.
Yeah, talk about a friend. He was like trying to communicate with her for what, 300, almost a whole year. 350 days or something.
Days. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
And the way that she went out, you wouldn't even have expected her to live.
Yeah.
From last year.
No, that was, I mean, yeah, that was the biggest, if you ask me, the biggest surprise. Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, I wasn't surprised because I seen the preview, but when I saw the preview, that was the biggest surprise that, oh, she survived. Actually, that would have been, she was in the previews, right? Yeah. Was she? No, I can't remember.
I don't remember seeing her in any previews. That would have been a giveaway.
Yeah. Please, wonderful chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Was 11 in the previews or not? Because, yeah, I think I remember that, but I could be wrong. Well, in chat, do not talk about the Lion King remake, please. That thing is wrong. That thing is wrong. That thing does not exist. I do not want to hear about it.
I heard another one. Someone said Amazon is going to do the Lord of the Rings remake.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you believe that? I thought that was just Chatter.
I don't know. I mean, like I think I read they bought the rights. I didn't click on the link. Like I just saw people being unhappy about that. And honestly, it's weird. Like I don't care about them not remaking Lord of the Rings, than I care about them not remaking The Lion King.
Like,
Well, I mean, like I because there's a lot of like economical and financial policies, and I don't really know like how much budget they have, and I can't really like figure out if they could do a good job or not. But Lord of the Ring is very has a lot of depth, so I assume they could probably do something different from the movies that would still be good because there's so much from those in those books. But Lion King, there's really isn't that much. It's a you know it's a story about lions, and it's the best Disney movie. Although I know it was probably ripped off from a Japanese movie by Miyazaki, but no, not Miyazaki. That's beyond the point. But yeah, no, I'm very, very, very angry about that. I don't really care whether or not they remake The Lord of the Rings. For that I reserve my judgment until we have more info, knowing if it looks good, if it seems good or not.
gotcha. So all of the ratings that I've seen in different categories, I guess is the best way. They really like this show. I mean, it's like a 9 out of 10 kind of a thing. How would you rate it overall?
Okay, first of all, know that my ratings, because I come from the French system, are usually lower than your rating. Like our grades are go from 0 to 20, and you pass if you have 10. So 10, you pass. And we don't like grades in France are not that good, but we still pass. So out of 10, I would probably give it 7, and that is very solid.
Mm.
Like I don't, yeah, I think I would give season 1 an 8, but it's like, yeah, maybe it hurts me saying that I would give it an 8 because that's such a high grade in a French mind.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, oh, 7.5, because usually really you don't ever really get grades that are above 7.5.
Gotcha.
Ever. So, but yeah, no, that was a little under first season, but I forgive it because I think it was done. I think and I hope it was done for good reasons, but still solid. Honestly, if I had not liked that season, I would not have said, "Hey, let's do a video."
Sure,
Because
sure.
I don't like
Why?
talking about things that I don't like. To me, it's just super negative. And that's why I've never been into any Game of Thrones like video. I mean, I think I did one for fun because that was on purpose. Let's trust the show video. But otherwise, like a lot of people love that show. I don't. There's no reason for me to ruin them for their fun because we're all entitled to our own enjoyment of things, So,
Right.
like the reason that I want to discuss it with you means that I like it.
Me too. Yeah, I think it's one of the top 5 shows that I've watched in a long time. So, yeah, up there with Westworld.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Westworld.
Well,
But
we'll have to do a separate video on that one because that's one of my favorites.
yeah, well, like that we filmed. I don't know, maybe it was 5-hour video with Hype Swash that was never released because there was JD. We filmed with JD, and like he can only film at certain times,
Right.
and because we had so much to talk about, we didn't think, and we decided to go episode by episode, and it was like 3 or 4 a.m. that we were only halfway through, and we're like, okay, we gotta sleep now. We're nowhere near done, and we never rescheduled
The
like
other half.
the rest. And
Yeah,
but it was a really good discussion.
that's
But
awesome.
yeah, I would I would love to
JD and
discuss.
Ann. Second half. Come on, let's get it going.
I mean, it was more than that. I mean, like, there was, I think, there was Jerry, there was Don Willie. I remember definitely there was Don Willie. There was Eliana from, she's one of the Reddit moderator. She's from
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Monthly. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's one of my favorite shows.
Do we have any questions from the chat? Because
yeah, I haven't seen anything that we haven't covered, but we'll give you a few minutes if you don't mind.
No, you know I can always fill in the blanks.
Well, I know with your sore throat, you really didn't want to get into it too much. Were you surprised at the closing of the gate, how relatively speaking easy it was?
Yeah, but because I don't really expect it to have worked.
Oh, you didn't think she'd have the ability to do it?
No. I'm again, oh god, I should never ever like go into theories, but I think the Mind Flayer knew what was coming, and that's what's the word? Is pretending that it's working. I don't think decoy is the right word. I'm thinking of decoy, but I know it's not the right word. Like I think he let that door be sealed because it's not the only gate.
Ah, okay. So yeah, that very well could be, because we didn't really talk about all of the tunnels that they went into, and
because okay,
places that are still alive.
You know, Will drew a map,
right?
But it's, you know, so because he has no memories. But again, it's like maybe the Mind Flayer, you know, doesn't let him know everything. He knows. We don't know how much he could manipulate Will. You know, like it's all we know is is based on the kids' guesses of how it works. If that makes sense. So maybe there's more, you know, we think there's only like one, we see the map with only one gate, but could be more.
I never even thought of that. You would have thought that Hopper would have found, you know, that opening with his search, you know, when he was looking for all of the dead or poisoned pumpkins and etc. But you're right, there could be another one, and that could be the answer to the next question. What storyline you hope that they develop next season?
Well, 8 and more people like 8 and other labs. Because
other labs,
again, yeah, I mean, I would be, yeah, other labs like the one in Hawkins, and oh yeah, of course, and I want to get more of the follow up, the consequences of the tape being sent. You know, like I want to see how, I want more like X-Files vibe, more to see how the government react. You know, like you know, X-Files when they introduced the guy with the cigarette. Is that how he was called in English?
right?
Yeah, that kind of vibe. I want some. I was really happy that we had a good scientist this season, and so I hope that next season we have good scientists versus bad scientists. Gotcha. I want to see. I'm sorry, I'm continuing because like I think I've already covered that a bit. Like I want to see the kids becoming, you know, like junior high school kids becoming teenagers. I want to see that. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, mine would be more of the Hopper and Joyce getting together. I'd like to see that and get some normalcy to Joyce's life. It seems like that poor kid's been through everything. So between Lonnie and her son getting possessed by by smoke. She's had a pretty rough life, so I think it would be a good continuation. But I don't think this is going to be a happy ending kind of a story.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still open about that. But no, I do not see Joyce and Hopper being a happy ending. I do not see two highly dysfunctional people, really traumatized people getting together as a happy ending. Like Bob and Joyce, that was a happy ending. Normal life, a good, nice, caring guy, like being there for her, taking care of her, whether in Maine or wherever, like that's a happy ending in my book. Like I yeah, I don't care if there's a Joyce and Hopper storyline next season. Like I'm not opposed to it. I'm not shipping that either. But I don't think that's a happy ending.
Gotcha. BBM 94 asks again about characters being written out. Which character would you want to be written out?
Oh, what's his name? Stupid blonde Mac's brother.
Max's brother Billy. Okay.
Billy. Yeah, kill
Yes.
Billy. Yeah.
Billy has to go.
Kill
Yeah.
Billy. Exactly.
They did him pretty bad with that hypodermic needle in the throat, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Have a little accident there and take him out.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind him being done by a monster rather than one of the kids, but yeah. And what about you? Because I'm answering the questions and you're not.
No, I was gonna say I would say either of the two uh, police officers from Hawkins. Um, they're both a little inept for me. Even for the '80s cops in a small town, I think we need a little more um regular guy police officers, not the Three Stooges, basically. I think that would be good.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, not that I want them killed, but actually going back to, I mean, like, yeah, BBM's previous question, if the world expands, I wouldn't mind the FBI getting involved a
Gotcha.
little bit more. And so we could have like, it would be an interesting thing, I think, to see like those laid back cops defending their turf versus the FBI trying to like take over the investigation, and maybe that would force them to have to work a little bit harder.
Lauren asked, what other '80s references or Easter eggs would you like to see in next season?
Well, I think that's mostly a question for you because, like I said, we don't have the same '80s references.
Culture in the United States. Oh gosh, that was a big Reagan decade, so we'll probably have a little bit of Ann's politics involved in that, especially with Jimmy Carter being from Georgia. I'm surprised they didn't talk about that at all. Yeah, that's about it.
I mean, there were the posters on the lawns, but yeah.
Everything was good. I mean, everything was perfect. They just nailed '80s Georgia just perfectly. So I have no. It's not right for me to even recommend it because they just nailed everything about it. So Bridge 4 asks, I think they take a risk and kill off one of the adorable kids. Wow, maybe season 4 or 5. That
So
would
how
be.
dark? Yeah, that would be dark. How dark would we want it to be? Yeah, I mean, I can't really like he's not he or she. I'm sorry. I don't Bridge. I'm sorry. I don't know you. So, excuse me if I use the wrong pronoun. Um, yeah, I don't think
Bridge
season
is a
3
he.
is ready
Kevin.
for
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I mean, again, we need. Ooh, I don't like that thought. I'm not because it's new and disturbing right now. I don't think it's wrong. I think it's a very good possibility, but yeah, it's they're upping the stakes. That would make sense. Oh, why Flux? Why do you say you hope it's Dustin? Justice for Mew Mew. Yeah, but not. I mean, yeah. Justice for Mew Mew. Hashtag justice for Mew Mew. I agree, but not Dustin.
Yeah, Dustin's cool.
Dustin's
Yeah,
cute.
I
Dustin
think
has
I've
a lot to live for.
yeah, Dustin definitely is an asset to society, as they say. Yeah, I would definitely I agree with you. I don't think that's a good idea, but it is an interesting thing to think about. I just don't think that that's where the show is going. I think it's more about the Dungeons and Dragon storyline and what how the kids reacted to that and how they were able to make it into a real conflict as like you were talking about
Yeah.
uncanny um, as opposed to just something that's on the board.
I'm sorry. I because oh, I try to catch. Sorry for the camera.
No worries.
I just because I want to show you my new cat. Is flat. Yeah,
Oh,
but she doesn't like being held, so justice for Mew Mew.
oh. The
But
black
yeah,
cat.
no, she's not like my old cat. She's very unhappy about that. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, she doesn't like that much being held up. So
Can we know your cat's name?
yes, okay. Well, we adopted her like 2 months ago, and we were told that her name was Peewit, which is not a good name. Did not no, it's not a good name. So I'm not a good name. The problem that she seems to react to it, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too happy about. But no, I'm trying to rebrand her. I say that she should be called Rakshasha,
Mm.
which is yeah. I'm gonna. Can I write that so you can see it? Because that's good. That's a good name. That's a good pun. Because it's a little bit D&D. Rakshasha. And oh, yeah, now you can see the overlay. Um, yeah, I mean it's a fun because Densha is like chat is cat in French, and it's like a
Gotcha.
rakshasa, which is either in D&D a demon from hell, I think, that is a tiger-like humanoid, and we can transform into anyone. Because she's a black cat, she's a bit of a demon.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. That's awesome. Mew Mew lives. All right.
Justice
So
for Mew Mew. Let's make that trend. Let's make that trend, people.
hashtag. So was there anything you wanted to add to the stream before we hop off? Any other
Not
questions
really.
that
You know, I
you can
could
think of?
go on forever if you just, you know. I mean, I wish I would have heard more of your thoughts, overall, because you were really great about asking me questions. And I
Sure.
talked way too much because I always do that. I'm sorry. And
No, I loved it listening to you. That's why we have you on.
but no, I think, I've said all I felt like saying.
Yeah, I don't know if the only thing I remember not doing was the rating. And for me, it was a higher rating than what you gave it. 7 out of 10, I think, is what you said. I would have said more like 8.5, just because I'm comparing it to other shows that I watch. And to be honest with you, other than reality shows, that I watch, it's not as compelling. There's a lot of garbage fiction shows out there. So between either the actors, the storyline, the writing, this has a lot of it hits a lot of notes that I enjoy. So
Yeah, I mean,
and the fact
again,
that they're unknown characters
I would not give any rating over 9 out of 10,
for
which would
anything.
be for anything, which
Oh
would be,
my.
like I said, I started by saying my ratings are going to be just mechanically lower than yours. Doesn't mean my appreciation is lower.
Gotcha.
My favorite TV show that I can remember, it's True Detective season 1. I thought that was just brilliant. That's a 9. Slightly under would be an 8.75 would be Fargo season 1 and 2. I've not watched season 3 yet, so I can't comment on that. But brilliant. And also my favorite current ongoing TV show of all time. I mean, it's not really a TV show because it's a game on Alpha or Twitch, but Critical Role that anyone should watch because I had never played Dungeons and Dragons before watching that, and that is just the best story I've been told in a long time. But even that, I would give it an 8.5. So that's why it's a really good grade for me.
That's pretty incredible that you would not give a show anything higher than a 9. That's interesting.
Yeah. No. Again, in France, I'm sorry, there was a cat. Not being super subtle about jumping. No, in France, you never have a grade higher than a 9.
Gotcha. Well, like I said, I rated it higher just because I compare it to other shows. I also compare it. The writing was much better than most other shows out there. Even though, and I like the PG rated stuff a little bit more too. I don't like the swearing and nudity for nudity's sake. So it's that was that's always pleasant for me to have a show that I could share watching with my daughter or my wife without feeling awkward.
Yeah, that's really not something that factors in for me at all.
Trust me, I know.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, no, I've watched a lot of you on JB's channel going over movies and whatnot, and I can tell, based on your rating, that that part of it's not a factor for you. You're very more accepting. You're much more accepting.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would rather anything being motivated by something. So I would rather see purposeful nudity than useless nudity, but I don't really, I don't really care. It's not something that shocks me. Again, like in French and in France, you can see boobs on TV anytime.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was it was one thing that I thought really funny when I was first confronted to like American mainstream movies, is that after sex, when people get out of bed, they're in their underwear or they're covered themselves. And in France, it's like the movie wouldn't get like not PG-13 just because you see someone naked. Like it would, if you see sex, yes, but if you just have someone getting out of bed, that person will be naked, or because that wouldn't make sense.
Totally.
So I'm not as shocked by that.
Yeah, it's Brooke's talking about Game of Thrones again. Yeah, that's definitely not something you want to watch with your mom. All right.
Yeah, but hey, come on,
you know what I'm
my
saying.
fellow American friends, maybe we should loosen up a bit about nudity, because we're all human beings, and when we wear clothes, we're naked, and we all look, So yeah, moms of America, dads of America, relax, and be a little bit more concerned about your kids seeing a lot of violent things on TV, because that's more disturbing than seeing naked people.
Yeah,
that turned really political real fast.
Seriously, we're really comfortable with watching a guy get his head chopped off, but see someone topless.
Don't show boobs. Yeah.
I agree. I'm more concerned about the sexual content than I am the nudity per se. But yeah, I don't like the
Yeah.
nudity for nudity's sake.
No, but I mean, again, it's because it's not really in culturally appropriate in your visual medias. Like I said, if it was usual that, you know, like you saw people when they get out of bed that would be naked, then it would be incorporated, like it would be something would be incorporated more into movies or TV shows, and it wouldn't be like again, like it would. There's a difference. Okay. Oh God, no, I don't think you want to get me started on that tangent because you want to close that video, and now I'm good. Sorry, guys.
No, we're good. We're good.
But all I'm saying is that, like,
Nope.
okay, I think even a guy, it's a wake up. It's either he just had sex, we don't see that, that's off camera, or it's really hot, so he's sleeping naked, he gets out of bed, and the camera just glimpses a shot of his penis for 2 seconds. You know, that's less sexual than the way they film Transformer when I forgot the character's name, but she's repairing her car and she's trying to talk about her love of mechanics, and the freaking camera just totally ignores what she's saying and zooms on her boobs. Like, that's demeaning for women, a problem about sexual representation, wrong on so many levels. Just having someone, even, I mean, seeing it, you know, a glimpse of a dick, because it makes sense that someone would get out of bed naked. Sorry, I bumped. You see, I'm making moves and I bumped my mic. You know, it's a lot less sexual than, you can be very sexual being very dressed, is all I'm saying. And that doesn't make a content less sexual because you see less skin.
If you think Italians are expressive, French people are as expressive too. She's Anne's a little passionate about this. Okay.
Yeah, I was getting a little aggravated about that topic, which is not the topic of our video. And
no,
never
not at all.
invite me. That's why no one ever invites me, because
No,
they know
no,
better.
no. That's not true at all.
If you don't want to get off topic, don't invite her.
Squirrel Central here. No, seriously, thank you very much for coming on. I'm so excited to have you on my channel. I really, really appreciate your time, because I know that even though it's an hour and a half, or actually, oh my gosh, it's already over 2 hours. So I just want to say thank you very much. And you've always been a favorite of mine on the Hypes Watch. And I love watching you guys do the Clash of Queens. It's always fun.
Yeah.
And thanks for talking about Stranger Things today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if there's anything else you want to cover on season 2 of Stranger Things. But in the meantime, I hope you have a great weekend and have a good night. Bye-bye, everybody.